Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday night chat. I'm Kelly Wilkins, your host and the creator of the My Self-Reliance Expo. Welcome to Expo on the weekend. Oh, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, your sound breaking up.
Okay. I think it's come back now. I've got a little note to say that it's come back. It's all good. And I have a few panelists on tonight, a few people who were store holders and speakers at the expo to share with you all who weren't able to make it, some of what you missed and some of get a taste of what went on at the expo. And because it was our very first, it was our inaugural event. We want to hold them yearly. We're going to reveal some of the things that we're going to do later on. But first of all, before we jump into any of that, you want to put in your diaries the 12th of May. It's a Friday night. We have Yana on from WA, who's the expert in growing plants, vegetables, fruits, you name it, she can grow it. And she's going to lead us in the secret formula for plentiful plants. So you can go to the website myselfreliance.com.au to grab your ticket. It's only $22. She is a wealth of knowledge and an absolute barrel of fun with so many stories. She's been living off grid, hatching and killing her own dinner since she was 10. So she has so much to share in the way of food production, basically. But she's a writer for horticultural magazines and gardening magazines, and an editor. So you name it, she knows it. If you have any questions about gardening, if you're a novice to an expert, you can come that night and learn all about growing food. So jump in and grab your tickets. We also have on tonight, I want to welcome a few people who are special guests on tonight. We have Paul here, who's our microgreens expert. And so we have a few workshops of Paul's coming up. He was at the expo showing off his microgreens. Welcome, Paul. Can we see him? I'll go to the gallery. We'll jump on in a minute.
Hey there, sorry, just I was helping myself to a cup of tea. Hey everybody, nice to see you again.
Beautiful. And so Paul has a few events coming up. You can check those out on the website. And I'm introducing to you all Artemis, who was my MC on the day. So thank you for such a good job, Artemis. And if you didn't get one, Artemis put together these amazing directories. So everyone who presented or was a store holder at the event has their name on a directory. You can pick up a hard copy. You can get them online on the Telegram channel. So if you are not finding our channel, we're on Telegram called My Self-Reliance and Food Storage. They're there. They'll be on the website soon. And welcome, Artemis. Thank you for being here tonight. So we also have Cherie from the Raindrop Room, and Cherie was a speaker and an exhibitor at the expo with Young Living. So welcome, Cherie.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. And welcome to Jeff and Akiko. So Jeff and Akiko are accountants who live in the Blue Mountains. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, well, we keen to hear your experience from the expo. And we have Andrew and Emma who were my backstage crew. Now, not only Emma's like, don't announce me. Not only were they putting on the best barbecue and cake stand that you've ever could see or taste, they've been with me from the get-go, from the very beginning of my self-reliance, and they are instrumental in bringing to you the all the behind scenes to make the expo really work. So thank you for being here. And I want to also reference to Bruce, who came to us through Emma and Andrew, as I understand it, near neighbours. And Bruce is you don't have a business in bees and honey, but he's our resident expert who showed us how to extract honey on the day. So thank you, Bruce, for coming and sharing with us your passion and skills.
Thank you. How to get sticky and how to make a mess.
That's right, the best way possible. And if you haven't met Betty from North Parramatta, Betty is our expert in fermentation. So anything you need to know about fermenting foods and fermentation, she's happy to teach you how to make the yummiest sourdough breads, yogurts, sauerkraut, all of that good stuff. So thank you, Betty, for sharing with us your skills and also having some delicious, tasty morsels on the day.
Thank you very much. I am really, everybody is welcome. If you wish to learn anything from me, I am happy to help you.
Beautiful. And that's what we're like in this community, helping each other. And so that's a little taste of what, if you weren't at the expo, what you could experience. Plus we had the amazing Michael, who's having his dinner, but he's on the call tonight running our chocolate wheel. So thank you, Michael, for spinning and winning with lots of fun. That was awesome.
It was good fun. It was awesome.
Lovely. So I'm going to throw out a general question first of all. And this is a question to everybody who exists my self-reliance community for a little while. So, you know, we've talked a lot about a lot of different topics over the last year and a half, I would say. So my question to you is, why self-reliance? What is it about self-reliance that that you connect with, and what? Because I know what it means to me, why I choose self-reliance. But what I want to find out from you, what does it self-reliance mean to you? So anyone want to get started with that conversation?
I can start if you like.
Yes, that'd be lovely.
Okay, well, I think one of the most basic things for humans is the term survival. We all need to survive over the many problems that every single person has in life to overcome, to survive. And so self-reliance is the very basis of survival. So that's my comment.
Beautiful. Thanks for that, Jerk. Really love that comment. Artemis.
I come to think, like, over the last 3 years of realizing how much we're plugged into things that don't always have our highest good at heart. I thought, even if tomorrow everything magically goes to the most beautiful utopian state, I never want to be that unconsciously plugged into other things that have power over me. So I want to learn more about where my food comes. How can I be more self-sufficient? How do I learn about this topic and that topic? And who are the contacts where I can learn anything from fermenting to healing with oils to, I'm sorry I missed the bee section, but you know, that sounds amazing. So I think just at the base, knowing that I'm consciously aware and making choices. But first I need to get educated on what are the options and what are the topics. So that's what I loved about the expo, was so much variety, and it really encompassed the whole idea of self-reliance beautifully.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks for that answer, Artemis. Is there anyone else that would like to answer that question?
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah, it's pretty much what everyone's already been saying, but solutions to becoming independent and unplugging. Yeah, learning how to do that, and maybe even more than just surviving, but learning how to thrive in that sort of environment. You know, survival sounds like you're barely hanging in there, but hopefully we can do a bit better than that.
Yeah, I love that word, thrive. Yeah, why not, right? We can decide how we want it to go.
And
Yeah.
for me are very important relationships.
Ah,
Everything else for me comes later, but if you feel comfortable between people, whatever happens and whatever your approach is, you are accepted. And for me, atmosphere, relationship, and smile on the faces, this is something which I really appreciate, and thank you very much.
100% right there, Betty, because self-reliance doesn't mean being by yourself
no,
or
it
knowing
doesn't.
100% of everything by yourself, is it? It's we all have our talents and sharing and skills, and as a community, we can thrive together.
Yeah, it's about networking. That's another word that you can use.
Yes.
And the networking that we've been used to has been too big. It's been impersonal. So self-reliance means taking responsibility in your own personal network to help and
Right.
relate.
I'm going to repeat what you said. Your sound went in and out for a minute. So you said
Sorry.
taking responsibility for your own self-reliance. Did I get that right?
Yeah, and it's but in the network. So yes, with other people, because you can't do everything yourself. But you do your bit. And it's networking. And as she said, it's relationships. So when we relate to the government, it's that faceless, nameless person. So, but
That's
we can
right.
smile at each other and see it.
100%. I love that. So,
we've been,
yeah, sure.
sorry, we have been given all of the tools that we need. So we just need to reach out and learn from each other what they are and how to use them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Because we all have been born with different skills or, desires on our heart to be for, what maybe the reason that you came at oils. It might be a health challenge that had you overcome something, that had you, desire to learn to be good at something, and then we bring that to the table. Really makes for a well-rounded experience when we share that with others, would you say? So tell me, what is it about this expo now, because it was a collection of people getting together, and we're working with each other, bringing skills, all those good things. But what was it about this expo that made it a self-reliance expo rather than just a business meetup?
Well, I think the talks from the stage were key to that. People had their stalls, and they showed to varying degrees, what self-reliance is. But the people from the stage were actually dealing with issues that were right up our alley, and the number that I went to, were critical issues for me and my thinking. So, how do we handle this when the networks go down and we have to build our own?
Yeah, beautiful answer. Thanks, Bruce. Is that it's really great to have those speakers be able to to give us their insights more. Yes, and Emma.
I've attended a lot of expos in my time, and I find there is no connection. So that is a great word from Betty when she talked about relationships. So there was a real connection there. You weren't competing with what you were providing, and you felt comfortable that you could go to see somebody at their stall and have a bit of a chat and come back and make sure the sausages weren't burning, and then go back again and see what else was out there. A traditional expo where there are other businesses, they could be vying for the attention of potential customers. So it wasn't all about make money. It's who's out there today, come underneath the awning, have a bit of a chat, try, what we've got to offer today. And there was just a real sense of comfort. I guess sort of between the stalls and the stall holders, and being able to move fluidly through and not feeling that you're in somebody's way or anything like that. It was, a very nicely put together event, very warm, inviting.
And the connections that go beyond the event itself.
Like tonight. This would never happen at a traditional expo. You know what I mean? Like a follow-up with everybody who was there on the day. You wouldn't have this. Everybody just goes on their merry way, pack up and on your way.
True.
So
true. Yeah, that's what community is about. For anyone else want to answer that?
I guess I kind of felt that a lot of the speakers were not trained in using the microphone. And I found myself that I missed a lot because people would hold the microphone too far away. And so I think that probably in the future, before people get on the stage, they should be taught a little bit how to use the microphone. The first speaker that I could hear all the time was Carla. She was brilliant, a good speaker. But those before her, unfortunately, I only heard half of it. They get carried away, to wave their arms around in enthusiasm, and that's great, but you couldn't hear a word they say. And so I think that we need to kind of, if we're going to be a bit more professional, we need to get them to be a bit more professional. That's all. It doesn't mean what they were saying was wrong or anything like that, but if we're going to kind of get things better, that'd be a good idea.
Well, Jeff, if you couldn't hear them, then that's a problem because you were sat at the front.
I know. I know.
So thank you for that, your feedback. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, thanks. That's very valid. So thank you for that. Okay, so.
And we probably also need them to take notice of Artemis. I mean, she's the timekeeper. She was the timekeeper, or other people were, but that they've got a time, and if they go longer, they're stealing from somebody else, and that really did happen a lot.
Everybody stayed in time. Everybody stayed in time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Everybody was in time.
Well, then we must have started late.
We did start late because we had AV problems.
Yeah, we did.
We were trying to get the projector started, and that wasn't working. That's why we started late, love.
Okay.
Yeah, we did start late. But like the second person actually made her shorter, so we then caught up. But yes, I was making very sure that everybody could see me going. But I like it, Jeff. You get up there and you tell them to listen to me, mate. You tell them.
That's it. Next time we'll have a spotlight, and we'll have the lights. We'll have it made really, we'll have curtains. We'll have a little bit more professional. No, it was a beautiful venue, wasn't it? We were very lucky to have that venue and to have that flexibility, and but I do hear what you're saying. So thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. How do you feel that that this community now, okay, I'll ask this question in a different way. I didn't even get to finish asking that, but I'll ask this question. When Artemis started the day, she did a beautiful introduction, and she talked about how people sometimes either take the red pill or the blue pill. Artemis also
Or the
talks
yellow
about
pill.
the black pill, but then she introduced the yellow pill. So first of all, Artemis, can you recreate the yellow pill? And then the question is, what does the yellow pill mean to you? So recreate that for us, Artemis.
So and all the ones who are outside, like Andrew and Emma's like, oh, where's he going? So we know what the red and blue pills are. And I was sharing with Kelly before the expo that I coined the purple pill, and I explained to her what the black pill is. And she said, I want the yellow pill because that's her brand color. And I'm like, the yellow, the sunshine, that is so Kelly. So we have officially coined the yellow pill, which is all about Kelly and the My Self-Reliance brand, which is about enthusiastically and optimistically taking action with awareness. So it's all about, it's basically Kelly's energy in a yellow pill.
I want the yellow pill too.
I agree.
So you know, okay, so my question to you is, what do you think of, if you think of what the yellow pill could be? And it may not be just about Kelly, right? So there's you know, the whole self-reliance, and I'll just start off by saying, for me, it is about bringing positivity, sunshine, light, pouring light onto a space of darkness. So where you know, when you have lemons, make lemonade, and you know, find the answers to problems rather than, you know, wallowing in them. So for me, that's, you know, and when we do that, when we can all enjoy the lemonade together on a sunshiny day with daisies and sunflowers, how good's that?
Can I say with the
And
sunflower
lemons.
thing, the beautiful thing with the sunflower thing is they follow the sun, but when there's no sun, they turn to each other apparently. And I'm like, you know, what Betty was saying about the community. So it's, as you said, it's all about shedding light, bringing in light and that warmth and that joy. But also when the times get challenging, we turn to each other as well. So there you go. Sunflower.
Sunflower. Thank you. Beautifully well said. Thank you. Is there anyone now, for those who are new, we've got some people who haven't really experienced My Self-Reliance events and so forth. Does anyone want to share what that has looked like over the last 15 months or 18 months, however long it's been? Any experiences that you would like to share that's preceded the expo? Because I know there's a lot of people in this community, in this group, who has brought sunshine to me. And I want to say, you know, Betty has been there right from the beginning when on our Tuesday night calls. And she's one person that I know that when I get around Betty, that she brings the sunshine and she makes me feel good when I'm around her. And, you know, always has a positive outlook on life. And it has to do with how good she eats, right? When you eat good and we always talk about gut health around Betty because of the fermentation. That really has a flow-on effect to your moods and to your sleep, and you know, all the good thing produces all that good energy, and so it's really holistic, right? We don't kind of pull apart and focus on one. We be holistic in the way that we go about things. So.
You know, Kelly, I am very grateful to the God because I am born this way. I didn't recognize it years ago, but when I started to be on my uni and I started to be horse's back rider, my boss, she just chose me very, very fresh with the horses. to be the leader between the students. I was extremely surprised, and he was the first person who told me, Betty, we are very sticky. We are having it. It is a unique. It is good if you know it. You do not have to do many things, but people will do because of you. And for me, it gave some reflection. If I have it because I am born this way, that is great. And then I started, like, you know, to develop myself this way. It doesn't cost me anything, nothing. Some people have to learn how to be some certain way. It is just part of me. And I really try to be responsible of this part, nice way. And I pay attention about holistic approach. I am not an expert, but I try my best in this. And I am very aware about this really, everybody of course has something, but I've been told this many, many years. I was extremely surprised, but then I started, like, you know, be aware and try to share. This is my gift, something like that.
Beautiful. Yes, that is your gift, 100%. Okay, so my next question is, what was the vibe like at the expo? What was the vibe? Now, you all were kind of in different rooms and experiencing different things. So, Paul, do you want to share the vibe? What did you get?
What did you speak, Second?
People are generally speaking, they are curious about what other people are doing, and they are willing to interact with different people and different booths. And I actually really enjoyed it. There was something that's very nice about it. You know, the general frequency was really nice frequency. So really enjoy the interactions. So it was very nice.
Lovely. Yeah. And that's with you being at your microgreens booth. Yeah, that's great perspective. Anyone else like to share? Michael, what was the vibe like where you were?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was Emma was saying that, like, no competition. That actually really resonated, because a lot of different expos or anything of that nature where you're getting people together and, you know, technically promoting something, there tends to be a competition or maybe a bit of pushiness or any of that. And whether it was people that we knew or strangers or whatever area. I mean, I didn't leave the chocolate wheel much, to be honest, but like still when I did, just super chill and super relaxed. So yeah, was like no pressure, and just watching the way people interacted and everything. Yeah, it was really comforting. It was refreshing.
And tell us about, because you were running the chocolate wheel, that was lots of fun watching you spin, having people come back and spin the wheel a number of times. And
yeah, I just brought out my inner, you know, we got the guy standing out the front of like, come in, prizes, and I just had fun with that. It was great fun, and yeah, people loved it. Actually, it was really good energy.
We had some
really
good prizes, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people like, oh yeah, whatever, I'll give it a go. You try and explain the rules, like, yeah, whatever. And there's like, oh, paid $1 and got like a blender or, you know, phone charger or something. It's like, oh, this is crazy. Okay, cool. And then they start the expo in a really good mood already. So
that's awesome. Lovely. Cherie.
I reckon it didn't feel like it was a club.
Right. Tell me more about that.
It didn't feel like it was, you know, most clubs you go to and they're just, even if you're going for something else like a conference or a training or something, it's clubby. But this was like really calm, and it felt like it was just us. And it was so, the atmosphere was so calming, and it wasn't just the oils. It was the people, that the whole atmosphere was just, to me, I didn't want to leave. It was like going into Young Living and not wanting to leave.
You know what, it's true. Like, you know, sometimes you think, well, the day is going to end at 4:30, and that most things that I go to, the store holders are wanting to pack up early and get out of there. But you're right, people were like, let's stay for a bit more. Like, you know, no one was wanting to leave. Yeah, 100%. Emma or Andrew. Did you
Yeah. Yeah, when we were preparing and everything, we thought, we were saying to ourselves, never doing this again. It was just because it took so long and everything.
Yeah, a lot of hard work.
When we arrived, we sort of forgot all about that. And then everybody jumped on board and helped us set up, and were concerned that we were late. And they, you know, everyone jumped in and got everything set up. And the same with the packing up. People hung around and helped everybody. When they finished their own store, they went around and see who else needed a hand. So it was a unique environment in that way. And then we started. As soon as we finished, we thought, when we got back home, we looked at how we could improve, what we do different. We already pinned down quite a few different things, what we would do different. Yeah, so we overcame our initial, we have done lots of festivals before, but this time we thought we kind of bit off more than we could chew, in the way of, you know, so many variety of cakes, and what we sold was not worth the effort. So we would do that whole thing different. But yeah, we would talk when we actually go into planning the next one. We'll talk more about that. But yeah, that was our experience in it, and it was, we didn't get a chance to go around and see all the speakers or anything like that. Right, only towards the end, we had a quick scoot around. Maybe the other thing I noticed, I felt a bit sorry for what's the name again? Mids with the children's thing, and I think some of that might have been on the premises. There was all these computer games and stuff, and I think that might have taken away some of the kids' attention on that sort of stuff. So when we're away from all that sort of stuff, I think the kids will gravitate more towards handcrafts and all that sort of thing.
Now, no one's mentioned the rain that was on the day, and which was quite interesting, because we know how high the vibe was, the feeling was so great, and the rain didn't dampen that.
No, if I can say, Kelly, it felt to me like a real family situation, as Cherie said. And of course, I was in a situation where it was hard for people to talk to me, being right underneath the speakers of the stage. But I was really surprised how many people came up in the very limited time they had and said, I want to talk to you. And so I went out into the other room, and I went out there for lunch also, and people were queuing up to see me. And it made me feel really, I felt a bit like a rock star, to be honest, because I was the only kind of professional, if you like, there. And I don't mean that everybody else is not professional, but, you know, accountants, architects, lawyers, I was the only one from that type of profession there.
Yeah,
and of course, I can't really sell anything. I can hardly do anybody's tax return on the spot. But people wanted to talk to me. They really wanted to listen to what my ideas might be. And as a result of that, I have made many appointments. But I just found it very pleasurable, and everybody was so open and so like as if I'd been referred by other people because I was there. and that's always a big big plus. And I really enjoyed the day far more than I thought I would, I might add. It was my wife that really said you should go, and so I did go, and she was right, but it was far better than I think both of us thought. And even though I didn't have a chance to talk to as many people as I would have liked because of the side I was in, which I think we need to address next time. But overall, at the end of the day, I would have certainly benefited from it. So I thank you. And it's really probably primarily because of the lovely people that were there, and their open-mindedness, and the fact that we're all, dare I use the word, awake. That was the key for me. And I didn't want to use that word in my description, but I said I'm one of the few accountants that have joined the dots, hoping people would get the message from there, and I think they did. Yeah. So
Yes,
thank you.
very good.
Yeah.
Yes. And you did highlight a couple of things because, yes, I did handpick some people who I really wanted there, and you were one of them, Jeff, because I know what a good man you are, how clever you are, and so it does come like a high referral that to have you there, and also it points to a little bit what Emma and Andrew were saying, and that you were saying about, you know, placement. A lot of those things did come down to because of the rain.
Yes.
And, you know, some things that we could say that we would tweak and do differently. We would have done differently if it was different weather. And, you know, would have cast a whole different light on, there's sunlight on how the day would have gone. But nevertheless, I think kind of that having to crowd in together did bring a little bit of warmth to it. So, you know, there's that lemonade again. Okay, so, all right, tell us about your highlights of the day. Who has a highlight? What did you like best?
My highlight came the
Okay,
next day.
I'll start with Cherie. Go, Cherie.
My highlight came the next day when I got a phone call from someone whose mother picked up my card, and he picked it up off the kitchen table and rang me and said, my mother needs a raindrop today. And so they came around that yesterday evening and Sunday evening, and she had a raindrop and felt better.
The results that you get that are ripple effect, they're ongoing. I love that. Yeah, who else wanted to say something?
Yeah, I had a couple that had to wait for a while at the table before they could speak to me, and they said, and then somebody started talking. So we all went outside, and it was a couple. I won't tell you who they were because of confidentiality reasons, but they said, well, okay, as an accountant, tell us kind of what you do. So I told them about the problems that being awake are, and the different kind of concepts that people have, that and she said, oh, look, to her husband, would you go and get some coffees? So she went away to get some coffees, and she said, you've said to him exactly what I've been telling him for years, and he never listened to me, but he's listening to you. So thank you very much. And he's completely asleep, and I'm completely awake. And keep going, talking like you're doing. I really appreciate it. And so they're coming to see me shortly. And when he came back, he was kind of somehow or other. I turned him around. I don't really know how, but I guess as a chartered accountant, people tend to listen to me more than they do their wives, I guess. But it's just the way it was. But that was the highlight of my life. She really thanked me just so much for just saying what all of you would have said. it wasn't anything special. And but just coming from a professional perspective, from her point of view, she was just so rapt.
It's great because
yeah.
what you experienced was the difference that you can make in someone's life.
Yes, the reality is that's true, Kelly. Yes, yeah.
Mm.
And so I was that made me go out of there very pleased. Yeah.
Did anyone have a learning highlight where something you heard something new for the first time, or you connected with somebody in a different way? That a speaker perhaps. Really hard when you guys are all on your own stands. You're all, so maybe Artemis, I might throw to you because you were listening to a few of the speakers. What was your highlights? And then just because there's a few people who, and we'll watch the replay, who didn't get to be there on the day. So what was some of the highlights throughout the day?
My overall highlight was that I love that we had such a variety of speakers that some of them contradicted each other. Because one thing that I'm like, and I said this to Kelly, for me, the whole self-reliance thing is about critical thinking. I don't want anybody saying there's this one solution and you have to toe the line. So it's about sharing all these ideas, and then you take what makes sense for you and you investigate that and you talk to that person, and you kind of compare things and see where it goes. So I love that there was such a variety, and we had somebody from homeschooling and somebody from small self-managed funds and somebody from common law. There were so many, when you were talking before about what does self-reliance mean, there's so many spokes of that wheel. And I think what I loved was that we had such a breadth of variety in the stall holders, in the speakers, in the people that it attracted them. They came for one speaker and then they got exposed to a whole lot of other stuff. The highlight for me personally was I've been trying to get my head around the self-managed super fund thing for ages. And then Amanda, when she got up and she had the exact detail, I went, I could do this. She even called it out. She's like, this is the most boring, dry topic. I'm like, yeah, but that's the reason I had to be here today and I didn't even know it. So I love that there was such a diverse variety of speakers and stall holders, and that, my self-reliance is not about this is the one way you have to do anything. It's about bringing all these ideas and people then find what resonates for them. I thought that was brilliant.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bruce.
Yeah, with Amanda too. For me, I'd met Amanda a few times before, and whatnot. But her thing about the 888 farm and whatnot, that was a completely.
Bruce, just bring the microphone up to you.
Yeah, that was a complete surprise for me. Is that better?
Yeah, that's
anyway, yeah. So we're able to have it. I listened in with the chat. She had quite a few people around at the end of her talk. So that was a good surprise for me. And also I want to thank Emma and Andrew for their hospitality with the shelter and stuff like that. Because I think I might have been able to get one, but get a loan of one. But that was all set up for me. That was good. And as far as the rain's concerned, I realised that if it hadn't been raining, we might have had real trouble with bees. Because it was raining, they stayed home. Yeah.
Very good. There's a blessing.
Yeah, because they would have smelt the honey that I had. I had heaps of honey there, so they would have smelt it and they would have wanted it. So they would have been in the way. We would have had to. Yeah. So that went out really well.
Silver linings. Look at that.
Yeah,
Betty, what's your highlight?
For me, when I approached anybody and it was like even crowdy, everybody took this moment, talked slowly. We could have this even very short period of the time, real nice, slow chat. It was for me a unique, like your gaze wasn't to somebody else because it's on a queue, like being concentrated on this moment with this exact person to whom you are talking. I tried the same. Maybe not always I could do it, but it was for me the unique, like this little certain time to talk like this concentrated way.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And then does anyone want to say anything about the venue itself?
I
Yeah,
liked the venue. It was great.
yeah. What worked about it, Emma?
Considering it was sort of like at the 11th hour, did you made the change to go from Prospect to there? Just the fact that there were spaces that people could go to where, even though outside we were a little bit cramped with the rain, that was great. But you had stalls outside, and then you sort of walked in towards the building, and then there was a chocolate wheel, and you walked in a little bit more past reception. You had a room of stall holders and speakers. So it was like a nice flow, the way that everything had been set out. And apart from the stores outside, everything was under cover. And that rain came, but it just did not matter. It did not dampen the spirits of the people that were there. It was just a really nice use of the space. And we are so blessed we found that, Kelly. Thank you.
Being able to park close to the store
Parking.
helped a lot too.
Yeah, I agree. The parking is great. And the only people that really lost out was Gail's ponies. So we had, the ponies, they were there in the morning. The kids in the morning got to have a ride and they loved it. And then it just got a little bit too wet after that and they had to pack up. But so poor Gail and the ponies, we missed them. The other thing about the venue is that they were so accommodating. They just couldn't do enough to help us and to make it beautiful for us. And at one stage, the homeschooling group wanted to move out of the main room. And so they let me set up in the foyer and remove all of their paperwork and advertising off the foyer table. Hide that, she said. Let's move the plants around, and she set it all up for the homeschooling group so they could be under these lights and right in a prime spot, and so that they were happy about that. And so we were really blessed to be able to have that flexibility. And no wonder, Cherie, that we felt like we were the only ones there because we had the run of the place.
Pretty much.
We could do it. It was lovely. Okay.
And chances are a lot of the people that came into the clubs kind of lingered around as well.
That's right. There was the soccer in the morning. Yeah, so there was a lot of people kind of there for other reasons, but also were captured by everything that was going on. And I could see them reading the signs and going, what's going on in there? And listening in. And there was some people who were part of the expo, but what I would call not awake. And they also got an experience and an education and a learning. And so it was good. We are not discriminatory, right? We accept everybody and we love everybody, and everyone grows together, and you couldn't tell one from another who was who, because that's what we're all about, right? We just the vibe was still high. Welcome, Gail. We were just talking about the ponies. That's all right. We're good to have you here now. We're actually up to the last question of the evening, and we're just throwing it out there to whoever wants to answer, Gail. So question is, who did you meet that you would like to meet again? So there's lots of networking going on, like Bruce said, and people from all over. We had people from the South Coast with the Mimosa Eco Retreat. How beautiful was that? We had a candle girl there who only days before she heard about us and got the courage up to want to share her beautiful candles. We had the Common Grounds people with the beautiful food and their hot apple cider drink. They found me the day before and said, could we come along? And that was an introduction by word of mouth. So who did you meet that you would like to meet again? So Andrew, I know you're typing away. Oh, Emma. Emma's the keyboard queen. Who did you meet? You can come off mute and share.
Just Natalie, the Thermomix lady. I always wanted a Thermomix, but they were just so expensive. So just having a chat with her. She's looking at doing a demo up at Springwood this coming Sunday. It's a private demo, but she's going to see if she can get me through the door. But Jeff from Common Ground. This is another example of just the fellowship that was there. So he came to visit us at the Sausage Sizzle a couple of times, and he said, can I just give you some free stuff? So he brought us some spelt bread and that green drink. We got 3 bottles. That stuff is like, bring it. It was amazing. If I knew about it early in the day, I would have said, oh,
yes, I know. They were amazing. Amazing. Yeah. 100%. And Natalie, the Thermomix, like once she starts talking about the Thermomix, she's like a dancer. She's like in her element, and like, you know, the whole world can disappear, and she's like, and you feel encapsulated. And yeah, that's it. Beautiful experience. And Gail, you said the manager, how lovely was he? The manager of the Pitttown Sports Club. Beautiful.
He was amazing. As soon as we set up and finished our setup, he came straight over to me and he said, have you got a card, brochure? He said, oh my goodness, we love you. We want you to come and do some stuff for us throughout the year. We've got family fun days and all sorts of things coming up. And I said to him, I'd love to. This is the perfect, where we are is the perfect venue. So
yeah, 5 minutes down the road too. You got to love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so good. Well, I want to ask any of our guests who are on tonight, Jessica or Anne or Clarice, if you have any questions of anybody on the panel, or if you want any clarification from anything that was said tonight. Because you're here listening because you weren't at the expo, I presume, and maybe you wanted to hear what it was like. So anyone want to pop off mute and ask a question? Okay.
Kelly, I guess I've been wondering whether to say this or not, but I will. I had a phone call about 10 o'clock in the morning from a friend of mine, and because someone was speaking, I didn't answer it. He was my best friend, my very best friend. I've known him for 20 years. So when I got home at 6 o'clock, I rang him and apologized for not answering the call. And he did send a thing on the audio to basically say to me that he was down at Crane Brook and he was coming back that way, and he wondered if he could come in for a cup of coffee in the morning, which obviously he couldn't. And so I rang him, and he repeated that to me, and said, look, I'll catch up with you soon, mate. He was half awake. He'd had 2 jabs.
Yeah.
An hour after that, he dropped dead.
Oh dear.
So my whole point is that I'm still devastated.
Wow.
He was my very best friend, but what I got out of that is that he was 12 years younger than me, and myself and Akiko are still alive and still very healthy, and so we're all blessed. And thank God that most of us have never had the jab. He had 2, and that's my point. So we really should celebrate those that refuse to take the jab. That's my point. I'm sure that's why he died.
Mhm.
He was extremely healthy
Mm.
man, far healthier than most people. He would go to Nepal and do tracking just last year. Walk everywhere, really fit. But so
Wow.
so I'm sorry, that's not a sour note, but in a way, we should celebrate that we're also healthy. That's my point. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
And may he
So
rest
Bruce,
in
that's
peace.
why I wasn't there on Sunday, my friend.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fully understandable.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I know him actually. Yeah,
Mm.
we'll check up.
Okay.
Yes, we got to treasure our health, and we've got to, really not take for granted the time that we have.
Yes.
No one ever knows what time we have, but we got to use it gratefully and wisely and productively.
That's right.
That's the one thing that that's our equal, right? Is time, and how we all get 24 hours in a day, and it's how we use them that
Yes.
and we can only be accountable to ourselves for how we use the time that we have here, and the relationships that we build, and for all the things that we do in our life. It's all about the relationships, right? Because that's the one
Absolutely.
thing that we take
Yes.
us and leave behind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, is there anything else that anyone would like to say before we wrap up tonight? Oh, Anne, did you want to share something or ask something?
I guess because I actually live in a unit, so it's I know like people will often talk about growing veggies in balconies, but I find that like with my veggies, I don't know, it doesn't work very well in a balcony.
Do you know, the very person to answer that for you is Paul. Paul, do you want to say something about growing veggies when you only have a balcony space?
Is this the Anne that we know that attended our microgreens course? No,
No.
different Anne. Okay.
Different, yes.
Okay, your voice sounds familiar, Anne. So maybe we spoke on the Saturday. Yeah, it's possible to grow veggies on the balcony, and you've just got to have good soil and make sure you're planting for the season, and just keep an eye on them, water them well. We grow microgreens. We've got a little greenhouse, so it's an enclosed room, and they do remarkably well, and we feed ourselves with those all year round, and there's a lot of variety to be had as well. So microgreens are one option for you, but planter pots, raised garden beds, they're all options as well.
Yeah, need a lot of warmth.
You need good
Wow.
soil.
Worms. Oh, maybe that's something
Worms are
in my
important.
soil.
Worms are very important.
Yeah, worms and compost in the soil, very
Compost,
important.
yes. So they're
I
all
got
about
compost.
soil. All about soil.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for answering that, Paul. So it's really possible, and so Paul is running a course on microgreens, so you can find that on the website at myselfreliance.com.au. So we are going to wrap up tonight. I want to say thank you again to all those who were exhibiting and put efforts into the day to make it wonderful. It doesn't happen on its own. It takes a team, and it takes everyone's effort. And thank you for bringing your best and putting your best foot forward and just showing up and being the beautiful, true you that you are. So
a big shout out to you, Kelly, for the vision you hold, that we all get so excited. We want to be part of it. And on the day, you were managing so many things. And I swear you never lost your smile. You never lost your calm. You never lost your beautiful warmth. So hats off to you for creating an amazing event.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Cherie has
Thank
the
you.
hat.
Even though it was raining.
We'll be next big event will be all online, so you won't have to worry about getting wet. So but we'll have all amazing speakers in July for the summit. It'll be 10 days with 20 speakers over 10 days. So stay tuned for that and all of the other good events that we'll have between here and there. Stay tuned for all of those. And of course, every Tuesday night, this is where you'll find my self-reliance, this community. This is why we work well as a community, because it's not just about the one-off, it's about how we continue to build relationships. So thanks again, everyone. Good night. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good night,
Thanks,
everyone.
Kelly. Good night.
Bye.
Thanks, Cal.
Mm.